Thanks for tuning into the Hidden Tracks podcast. You can find us wherever you find podcasts or listen to music. When you have an opportunity, please give us a 5-star review, write a little note, tell us how we're doing. We really appreciate it. It helps us keep this thing going. If you want to reach out to us, you can find us at Facebook at Hidden Tracks. Instagram is at HiddenTracks99, and if you'd like to send in submissions or talk to us or give us any feedback about what we're doing, our email is myhiddentracks99@gmail.com. Thank you so much again for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy the show. Here we are again, another week, another edition of Hidden Tracks. I am lucky to have Dominick Fox from the awesome band Bad Luck on the show today. Great band I found during my deep dives through Bandcamp and Spotify and all that kind of stuff, looking for great shit to listen to. I came across this. Now he's on the show. So excited to have him. Dominick, welcome to the show, man.
Thanks for having me, dude. I'm so glad we could finally talk to each other. And thanks for being into the band.
Yeah, everything worked out. We're here now, so I'm happy about that. I'm happy about what you guys are doing with your music. It's kind of, when I listened to it, it was a little bit refreshing for me. I don't know why, but I got that when I first heard the latest album. I was literally just like, oh, okay. I was like, it's called Summer of Pain, but I feel pretty good about it.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool.
So, I mean, you're a band. We'll try not to dwell on the big C or big Q that we're coming out of, but I mean, as a band and releasing music during this time, I mean, how was it like formulating the album Summer of Pain and releasing it, and what were your expectations?
So I think in a few words, it was not ideal, but also comparatively, with no disrespect to anyone else that put out music during the pandemic and stuff, or during the thick of the pandemic, I should say, because it's not quite over. It wasn't as bad as I think it could have been. We were slated to release it in 2020, and we were touring a lot, and we recorded it in early 2020, and it was just kind of feeling like momentum was on our side in a really busy kind of way, which was good. And then, like everybody else, the world kind of stopped spinning briefly, and we were in a confusing limbo just because we didn't really know going forward what to do with this new record once we did get it figured out. So, yeah, we were getting mixes and stuff for, I'd say, the first 4 to 6 months of being inactive or not able to play shows and stuff. And then we kind of noticing, like I said earlier, some other people releasing in the thick of the pandemic, and we just kind of noticed it was, I don't know, just kind of, in our opinions, like stuff that was getting put out there and kind of lost and left behind. And not that that's anyone's fault, but we just tried to prolong it as much as we could. And then once we saw that there was some kind of upswing to possibilities of shows coming back or hearing about tours getting announced and stuff, we just decided to commit to early this year, which was, it wound up being spring. The record came out, and we just figured we might as well pull the trigger on it, because it wasn't a matter of I don't know, the record was just ready to go. So despite it not being ideal, I think that considering we couldn't have an album release tour, I think that the reception's been pretty good, and the release was no less fulfilling than I think it would have been. Would I have loved to go on an album release tour? Sure. But I think given this specificity of the last year or two, I can't really complain. And we get to play these new songs live now, and we've had all this time to figure it out and practice how we're going to perform them. So yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say is like I started out saying, it's not ideal, but I think we really made it work for us. And I'm really excited that the record's out now, and I'm really proud of it. So it's been good in all those kinds of ways that it can be. It's been good.
You should be proud of it. It is extremely how do I put it? It's extremely well done. And when I say well done, I mean it's in every essence that I didn't want to miss any song, even when I listened to it for the 5th time. I was like, I'm good with this. This is great.
So, thank you, man, for real.
Now, with shows coming back and stuff, I mean, what is your anticipation like? I know you got a show coming up soon, and what is it like coming out when your album came out prior to? Do you still have that same feeling about, hey, we came out with an album, we didn't get to go tour on it or do anything, but now's our time to do it and make it pop? What are your feelings about going forward with that?
So I think we're in a really lucky situation in regards to that, because the first shows we're playing and first tour we're doing coming out of all this, or at least the inactive aspect of all this, is with Free Throw and Dogleg, and it's actually Free Throw's album release tour. So I think, given that that's not something we would have passed on in the first place, like we would have been down to do that no matter what. And then our record came out. The first song came out in May, but the record came out over the summer. So I guess what I'm trying to say is the record coming out in the summer and then us going on a bigger band's album release tour to support them later that year would have already been fine enough for me, COVID and pandemic aside, to not be able to, for that to be the reason that we can't go on an album release tour. That already to me is totally cool, because we're happy to share the stage with some bigger bands and opportunities and just play really cool shows coming back. But even more ideally, in our specific like album release period, right after that Free Throw tour, like 2 weeks after we get home from it, and actually freshly announced today, so ideal timing, we're going on a headlining tour in December. And while we're not gonna force, and we haven't titled it at like a Summer of Pain tour, or we've been jokingly saying Winter of Pain, it's a headlining set, so like, we got an hour to play. We're going to play a lot. I don't know. I guess what I'm talking in circles here, but I guess what I'm trying to get at is it will almost serve the purpose an album release tour would have, and then we still get to go do this other bigger tour with Free Throw and Dogleg. So, yeah, I think in our ideal world, we would have had an album release right when the record came out. But considering that just wasn't possible, I really couldn't think of better ways to come back than getting to support some cool bands and play some bigger shows, and then get to do our own intimate thing in December. That should also be pretty poppin'. So it is weird, but considering this is a first for literally all of us alive, yeah, I don't know. I'm just happy that we get to do it. No complaints from me.
Well, that's awesome. And yeah, I mean, with music, how it's come back, and I've kind of burned the candle on both ends with going to shows, and I have so many lined up. I can hardly imagine what it must feel like to go out and perform, let alone go see shows, for anybody who hasn't even gone to see a show yet. I remember walking in to the first show and being like, all right, what's this going to be like? And literally when the first note was strung, I was like, all right, it's all good. We're good.
Yeah, totally. I think I'm still being a mostly show player and more than I've been a show goer in my life. I think I'm still yet to feel that full circle, like, all right, we're back. But I can relate, having gone to a few buddy shows that have come in town since touring have come back. And yeah, the first one, even just getting checked into a venue with security and stuff, yeah, it's nice, man. It's nice to feel more alive than not. But I think the feeling you're describing, I think I'll get that when we can do a sound check, or I'm sure, honestly, even in the bad times of getting to do what we do, I'll be more appreciative than I used to be. A long drive or showing up late somewhere or something. So, but yeah, it does feel good to know that it's back, and to see for all my friends that are already back doing it, that yeah, it's back, and we just all have to navigate it as safely and intelligently as possible. But yeah, it feels really good that it's back. But I know what you mean. Everyone's festivals came back at once. I can't imagine people who are waiting to go to shows. They probably had some really tough decisions to make in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, you had Furnace Fest, See Here Now, Riot Fest, The Fest, Florida Fest, like, and everything was like literally the same time. And it was, I mean, I can only imagine bands that were playing, multiple of those too, that it had to have been like crazy for them to be like, all right, we're back. Well, holy shit, we can't stop like moving right now. So.
Yeah, for real.
So I want to find out a little bit about Dominick's life himself. And I want to start by asking, there's a point in your life when you find music. And when you find music, you're usually in your adolescent years, and something completely changes. It's no longer choir songs in school or cartoon theme songs. It's you finally heard music for the first time. Do you remember the first thing that you heard that just made you ask the question, what is this, music to my ears that I'm hearing?
It depends. It depends on the length of time we're trying to go back. I think in in a general sense, just what is it? Retrospect being 2020, I could probably say like when I was really little and my stepfather played the Beatles on vinyl for us. That's just like how he had all his literal records from the 60s and 70s, and he showed us like AC/DC and Black Sabbath and Beatles. So I think that was probably the first time that I was like, oh man, I really like singing along to these songs, like, and thinking about lyrics. You know, again, not really realizing I was, but just thinking about what the songs were about. But probably in a more direct answer to your questions kind of way. I don't know, probably like the late '90s, early 2000s. I was like 8 or 9, and the big Dickies wearing, skateboard shoes, like radio pop punk surge was just really big for me because I was, like I said, between Beatles and then just listening to the radio with my parents. I was always really big on like singing in the car and thinking about music just all the time. I had this little handheld cassette recorder I would hold up to the radio and record individual songs at a time and basically make like DIY playlists on cassette just so I could kind of like practice singing songs and stuff, and then a multitude of songs from like hip hop to pop to rock and stuff. But with that being said, when the pop punk boom kind of happened with bands like I don't know, Blink-182 and like for me like Green Day and even the more like radio ones or what am I trying to say? I don't know, just the more like kind of mainstream ones, like not that Blink-182 and Green Day aren't as mainstream as again. No, as far as like Good Charlotte, Simple Plan, I really liked those kind of bands when I was a little kid, and just their commercial is what I was trying to get at. That's the word I was looking for. Sorry, the commercial style or not, like it becoming a trend or not, it kind of grabbed me as a kid. The idea of like, I don't know, dyeing my hair and wearing makeup and just dressing differently, and that kind of bleeding into the expression of like performing music. I'd say that's when it really kicked in. But the reality of it all is Bad Luck is when it became real when I was 19, because between like 9 and 10 and 19, other than when I was like lead singing for bands, I just more liked the idea of being in a band. Like I didn't know how to play an instrument. And a more literal definition of that is like when we were 9 to like 12 and we'd have our buddies over for birthday parties or like sleepovers or whatever. We would, you know, those lightsabers, you press the button and they come out in like folds, the plastic ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
We would pretend those were guitars. I probably should mention this now because I don't think you know this. The bass player of my band is my brother, Joe.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So
Yep.
me and Joe would have friends over when we were little kids, and we were kind of equally into punk rock, skateboarding, and like wrestling. And we basically like, whether it be a band like Blink-182's record or a like WWF like the entrance song CD, we would pretty much just like crank that in my room for the birthday party, and everybody would have a lightsaber and be pretending to play the guitar. So I think that was like the beginning of me like telling myself like, this is what you want to do, but I just had no means to do it, and I didn't want to go like traditionally and like get guitar lessons. I wanted to be in a band. I kind of just like realized when I was 12, like I want to be in a band. But like I said, to answer your question, literally, it's probably around 19 when I started Bad Luck. I had been in a touring band then already, but Bad Luck was the first time I like made myself the primary songwriter with an instrument. And yeah, it just all became real. But yeah, the 10 to 20, I guess, is the broad, like the blanket answer of kind of realization.
So if you're saying you knew you wanted to be in a band, what was a thought in your mind to make it feasible, and how did it go from there to getting into a band? Did you say you wanted to be in a band? Sometimes it starts with a lot of people. It was 90 million people. I usually say started with piano lessons somewhere or in school when you had to pick an instrument to play, or how did it start to just work itself into your life?
Well, like I said, I have my brother and I've always had him. So we've kind of always had the benefit of having like half a band ready to go. As far as in school, like instrument stuff, I did do 1 year piano lesson, and it's exactly the reason you just said. I had to pick an instrument. But no, I wasn't driven by those things. I was more driven. again, speaking on all this now, like retrospectively, because I wouldn't have I wouldn't have spoke about myself like this as a child, but I was like more into like culture. I didn't know what fucking touring was until I was like 17. Even though obviously I knew bands like went out and played shows, I just didn't know like I don't know. I just didn't know that. I was just more into like, let's play shows, music videos, having our band songs on MySpace. YouTube was invented when I was in fucking early high school or like late middle school or something. So things like that, and like before that, like punk rock vids, that kind of shit just like excited me. I just like kind of saw like Fuse and like certain like lighter bands or like when the emo stuff started popping, like I said, on like MTV2 and was like, damn, I want to do what they're doing. And again, I didn't even know much about it, but it just kind of made sense for me and my brother to aspire to want to professionally hang out with our friends. Like that was kind of the original thought, is like, not that this doesn't seem like a job, but like, this is the thing I want to do. I kind of would blindly say like, I want to be in a band. And all the ways you just asked about it, I didn't really consider those things. I didn't think about how it would pay for this or that, or how long I could do it. I just realized while everyone else started growing up around me, especially into high school, that was my only answer for what I wanted to do. Even down to I got laughed at by a senior class of mine in high school because it was like a career day or some shit, and everybody stood up at one at a time and had to say where they were going to college or what they were doing. And I stood up and I just said, I'm going to be in a band. And everybody like was kind of chuckly, like, you know, kids don't really laugh, but the teacher straight up laughed at me.
Yeah.
And was like, and kind of presented logically so the same questions you just asked. And I said to her then, I don't know, but I'm going to be in a band. So, and yeah, it's honestly just been a progressive version of that same standpoint. You kind of just learn as you go. And for a long time, it was just like DIY means, because that's how I learned, as far as like not asking for guarantees and piling however many bands in whoever's van and going and playing wherever, however much you can for whatever. And I think just from pursuing it genuinely like that and having a real like natural love and passion for everything that is being in a band, like loading in, writing the songs, playing shows, driving around, bonding with your friends, realizing you're getting tighter. I don't know. I could go on and on about the specifics, but point being, I think it just all started making sense to me. And I never really I never really hit a wall that I see a lot of younger people in bands eventually hit of like, okay, well, I got to go do this now. And while that might be a big attribute to the fact that I probably haven't grown up as much as I should have by now, I think it's just, yeah, this is just the thing I do. Even there was some amount of years that we stopped being Bad Luck and I didn't do this. And I eventually came back to this because, yeah, I've just never not done this. Like, I don't know. 17 or so, I went on my first tour, and it's pretty much been since then a progression of like learning about the industry, keeping in mind the DIY place we came from, and just like staying ourselves while doing it. I think that's the only reason it can turn into a job, or some of the only reasons it can turn into a job for people. Either like you're super lucky financially and like someone's parents are rich or know somebody, and like I'm not even talking shit when I say that. I just know there are bands and artists that's the case, and that's super cool. But for us, I think it's just more of the kind of vague open-endedness you hear about from young kids who want to be in a band. Like, we just wanted it, man. We just wanted to be in a band and kept our ears open and nose to the ground. And yeah, I don't know. There's not a school for this shit for a reason. I always say that. Yeah. There's not a college course that could teach you how to do this, because everybody who's doing, in my opinion, and I don't know anything, but whatever, in my opinion, anyone who's doing this successfully has just figured out how to be successful within, not only within their own definition of success, but within their own means. Like,
yeah, so you're telling me that the day you started a band, someone didn't knock on your door and hand you the playbook of how to do it?
No, that is not weirdly enough. It was me and my brother pretending we knew what to do until we finally got comfortable with each other and go, man, I don't know what's going on, but this is pretty all right. But yeah, I know that was a mess of an answer, but the real answer is there was no direct moment, man. I really do feel like whether anybody, because I don't know that I do myself, but whether anybody else believes in like fate or God or purpose or whatever, like from the beginning of your life, like I really just think that this is the thing that I do. And whether that's like I'm supposed to do or I've just like engraved it into my DNA at this point, like, I don't know. This is just the thing that me and my brother Joe do.
Yeah. And I mean, you brought up a point, and I've heard it a bunch of times from other people, and, saying, maybe I just haven't grown up or something like that. And for me is I say I've never grown up, but there was a great quote that, you can take. It was by Jim Valvano, old basketball coach. And he said, I live my life childlike without being childish.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
And like, that is the truth, because you can just enjoy so much more if everything's an experience. Like when you were a child, you don't have to grow up.
Yeah.
I mean, there's grown up things you have to do, like pay a bill or something, but you don't have to grow up. So don't ever worry about that.
Oh yeah, no, man. If anything, I would say, I say it out of comfortability of like, don't get me wrong. The friends that I've had, even ex band members that we've had that are like, I can't do this anymore. This either isn't for me, or like, I just got to move on from music. I don't think that that's the wrong take or anything. Like that sounds like it's right for you if you've made that decision. But for me, I make the joke about having not grown up because I know what I'm doing is right. Like for me and for my life and for my brother's life, like creatively and for what fulfills us as people. Like, yeah. Like I said, that's just a passing comfortable joke of a statement in that, like,
no, that's awesome that you have that, because that is the thing that I think misses from a lot of people that are in bands, is they struggle with that, but you already know. And that's, you figured that out at a young age. For some people, they don't figure it out till later on, but that's awesome that you figured it out, because that's the hardest part.
Yeah, I'm lucky, man, in that, like, I didn't have support early on, and I'm a firm believer in, like, that made me as driven as, and my brother as well, driven as we are. And it's actually come full circle, because speaking at least for our families, like our parents and stuff, any and all that didn't support us initially are all in now. And I don't know. I just think that everybody's story is different. And yeah, my maturity and like overall ability to like age and become more responsible while like getting older while I age, or getting more responsible while I get older. Excuse me. I think is really attributed to like lessons I've learned from being in a band. And again, I think that's just further proof of this is for me. So yeah, long answer, but there was no direct moment. It's more just that like over time, I slowly realized that this was the only thing I want to do.
Well, it's awesome that you figured it out. I commend you for that.
Thanks, man.
So you started really young, and I like to ask this question. What was the very first name of your very first band?
Hell yeah, this is a great story. Thank you so much for taking it up. We were called First Act, and I know what you at least might be thinking. That's the name of a brand, and you're right, because my brother Joe and me were at Walmart with our father one time, and he was looking. They used to sell First Act instruments there, and he was like, "Bro, if we got a drummer and they got their kit from here, it would already say First Act on the kick. So like that should just be our name." And I was like, damn, that's a mad good idea. so yeah, we were First Act when we were little kids and didn't play shows or anything, or even really write our own songs. We mostly played like Blink-182 covers or tried to write songs. Yeah. And yeah, that was the first one. The next one was Three Cheers for Old Men. And then shortly after that, they just started getting like stereotypical like emo names, like the name after a street somebody lived on at one point. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, when was the first time you performed in front of someone that wasn't family, like, other people, peers or such? When was the first time you performed, and how did you feel?
If we're counting like a talent show?
Yeah, that. I mean, the first time you performed in front of, people that wasn't listening to you in your bedroom.
Right. 8th grade, I played for my middle school talent show, and I used the word won very loosely, but we won because like 20 people were there and 14 of them were our friends. It was pretty cool. It was genuinely pretty cool. But that was the first one, and then I think by the winter of that year, so this is like my 8th or 9th grade year, this venue in upstate New York, Poughkeepsie, New York, called, it's not there anymore, Club Cranal. It was the front of the Loft, and the Chance. If you ever seen shows at the Chance in Poughkeepsie, played the talent show and then Club Cranel sometime in Jesus. It must have been 2005, 2006, something like that.
So what was the name of the first song you guys ever wrote, or you ever wrote?
Well. Before, like I said, I was 19 when I really kind of forced myself to, like, I played bass in those teenage years because I thought I just couldn't really play guitar. I was just kind of being lazy and didn't want to get around to it. But even before picking up any instrument, which again, just backtracking here, at 19 it was guitar. The teenage years before that it was bass and or lead singing. But before all that, like 9 to 12 era I discussed, I kind of already started writing songs. It's a big part of how I write songs now. I don't know. They were just kind of up in my head, and I'm obsessed with song structuring. Not to say that there's one style and it's right, but I just love listening to music and being like, oh, this is the intro, and this is the verse, and this is the chorus, and then when it comes back, I love that. It's just like something that, I don't know, makes me excited. And so I was doing that before I could play an instrument. So yeah, like the first ever song I wrote, I don't know, my mom probably has it in a fucking box in her house. She used to find them and be like, why are you so sad? I'd be like, stop. But the first song I wrote, like on a guitar or something, or like sang, it was probably in that Three Cheers for Old Men band, and it was probably called, oh shit, what do we call it? I know the chorus was like, oh, New Jersey. The song was called New Jersey Girls for no good reason. It was just called that. And the chorus was like, the lyrics were bloody knuckles against the wall. Sang that 3 times. Not going to say it to you 3 times, but bloody knuckles against the wall, and I'm trying not to fall. And I don't know what that means, and I couldn't tell you now. But yeah, we did that in 8th grade. That won us the talent show.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what was the first show you ever saw live? What was your first concert ever?
Dude, for free, because my dad is I don't want to make him sound like somebody's not negatively so, but pretty into it. My dad is a big gambler, and there's a resort or casino or whatever, a hotel of sorts in Connecticut called Mohegan Sun, and pretty much he would get like comped tickets for playing cards there, and he got tickets to Aerosmith and Lenny Kravitz. And me and my stepmom, who she's a big fan of both bands, went and saw Aerosmith and Lenny Kravitz together. And then for the same reason, my brother and my dad, at the same venue another time, saw Nickelback and Trapped and Chevelle.
Okay,
together.
well, Trapped and Chevelle, I'll totally give a pass on. That's totally cool. Nickelback.
Yeah, Nickelback, dude. It was awesome. Yeah, but I mean, shows like going to a venue. I don't know, probably in that same era of probably shortly after my band played that Club Cranel venue, because that was like my first time being like, whoa, like people are paying like $5 or $10 at the door to see bands. I didn't know you did that. So like, yeah, just shortly after that, started going seeing bands in the Poughkeepsie, New York area, Hudson Valley, New York area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite musical live performance that you remember you had? Is there one specific one that stands out to you so far in your career that says that was the pinnacle of what I want to achieve every single time I'm doing it? Is there one moment you had?
There's 2 shows I could point to that I'd say were more like what's the word? Like bookmarks, like, oh wow, that was special. But just to not to pick apart your literal words here, but just to use the end of your question to form my answer. I don't think I will ever be satisfied in that way. I don't think I will ever play and be like, oh, well, I'm never going to be better than that. Or I don't think I'm ever going to play and be like, oh, that's what I was trying to do. I'm good now. So I think in that way, no. But I think I've definitely noticed when things have been better than they were before, and or whether that be reaction or my performance, or it's really more of the 2 bookmarks I was going to mention. It's more of just like where I was at in life and what the performances and the shows meant to me. So I'll make the answer pretty quick though beyond that. The first one was 2014 or 15, Knitting Factory in Brooklyn. It was like our second or third time playing there at this point. And, you know, New York City's pretty tough. even with having grown up in New York and having a bunch of friends who, always sing the song, always have the song and dance of like, yeah, I'll come see you when you're around. It's just New York can be a lot tougher than other places. So we had hit or miss shows on Long Island and in Queens and stuff like that. But pretty much from the very first time we played Knitting Factory and leading up to our upcoming show, Free Throw, which is sold out there, and the last one we played there, which was 2 years ago now, that was great. It's just been a progressively better like turnout and build and performance each time. And to that, whichever year it was, I think it was either the end of 2014 or might have been early to mid 2015 when we played there. It was just a time that I noticed, wow, like double the amount of people that were here last time are here this time. And the sound was dialed in like just right. And I just felt like I was hitting all my notes and everything. And we were kind of working with a buddy turned manager then who no longer works with us, but is still my friend. And he, right after we got done, was like, dude, I've never seen you guys be that good. Like, that was so good. So that one, for kind of generic sounding reasons, as I tried to explain, but can't really elaborate beyond that. That one was really great. It was just the first time I felt like we were really making progress in a place that was kind of tough to draw, and we sounded good. But the other one that's probably more worth talking about on a podcast was just 2 summers ago, actually in Florida, in a town called Daytona Beach. It was at this really weird fucking axe throwing bar, which is not my favorite thing in the world, but it was a great show. It was sold out. It was like a 400 cap room, and they let like 450 people in there, some crazy shit. And yeah, I don't know. It was the first time my dad ever saw Bad Luck play, so that was like a really huge deal for me. And we played. It was a headlining tour for us, so we played like all the songs, all the ones you could have ever heard. And yeah, kids just like went crazy, and we had a great time. And we used to play in Daytona a lot as a band when we would be in Florida, and that was kind of like our return there. So just for a combination of both sentimental and performance reasons, like especially having me and Joe's dad there, and he never supported Bad Luck, at least like in that kind of way before that show. So yeah, that one to me was majorly important. But no, it's not like they go in the trash and I forget about them. I just kind of try and always be really great, and at least to my standards of like, what I think I can do and the way our songs are written and things like that. And yeah, I don't know. I kind of just hit a bunch of bumps in the road on the way to Bad Luck that by the time I got to forming Bad Luck at 19, I just really wanted every show to be as good as the next show or the show before it. And that kind of idea is carried through to this day. So no, other than those two for like sentimental reasons and performances that I remember, I just want every single one to be like really, really great. And I think these upcoming ones are going to be our, at least to this point, career defining ones. Just from getting this, super unplanned time away, really makes you appreciate things that you've maybe grown used to or grown used to being like, annoyed with, when really like I do anything right now to be on a fucking 8-band show in some random town playing for whoever, probably not literally, but you get right.
No, I totally get it.
Yeah.
Now,
shows will be great.
So if someone, you bumped into them on the street and you told them you were in a band and they said, well, what kind of music do you play? What's the one song you would pick out that you would show them that says, this is who we are? Self-reflection's hard, I know. So
yeah, that's a good question, dude. Probably, honestly, especially because it was a lot of the goal of making the new record, probably something off the new record, probably like Gwendolyn.
My favorite, you just named my favorite, so we're
awesome, dude. Thank you. Like, yeah, I'm very, very proud of that song. I was not even sitting on it for a while. I was working on it for a long time. Like, I had the majority of it figured out for a long time, but this record, it finally fully came together as like a fully finished song. So yeah, I think a song like that, yeah, if it was something off of the first record, I don't know, kind of generically speaking, I'd probably go Willoughby. I mean, it's the first Bad Luck song I ever wrote, and it's been a pretty big song for us in terms of like people wanting to hear it and singing it with us and having a good time while we play it. So yeah, I think if it were older, something like Willoughby, but probably Gwendolyn, man. Yeah, now that the record's been out, especially for a good amount of time, I think Gwendolyn.
Yeah, nice. And this isn't a fanboy thing, but I literally listened to it right before you got on, so I could get pumped up for the show.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you.
Now, taking that into account, you have that song to pick. Is there? I mean, to flip this up a little bit, do you have a favorite song that you've ever wrote? Is that the one, or is there another song that you're like, this is the antithesis of my songwriting right now? And you say, wow, I love this song that I wrote. Would you still say Gwendolyn or Willoughby?
I think they're both for different like eras or chapters of our band's life at this point. I think those are both good answers. I think Love Song and or Noise in Your Head would also work. But that's really like, it's more of the latter part of your question. I really appreciate you putting it into those words. Like, it's more of like that kind of sums up the best of my songwriting at those moments of time. I actually truly just posted on my personal Instagram the other day. I do truly believe I have not written my best song yet for this band or in general. So I think in that way, Gwendolyn is probably closest. I don't know. I feel like I don't know. There's not one, but I could, here's a better, less like word vomity version of what I'm trying to say. I think there's at least 1 to 2 songs off of each release we have that I would put in the category of like one of my better, if not like best songs. But I don't believe that there is definitively one, especially because as I've noticed over time, people do tend to appreciate us for different reasons. A lot of like our original older fans, it's not even that they only like the older stuff. They just kind of liked it for different reasons. And even if they've come around to appreciating the newer music now, it's for different reasons because we've kind of grown and evolved. So really cool way to ask that question, because I wouldn't have thought to throw part of the question back as the answer, but that is exactly what you said is exactly it. It's like certain ones of those songs can sum up the best song I could have wrote in that time period of my songwriting or that level of songwriting I was at. But no, I don't think, going back to the answer from earlier, I don't think I'll ever really be satisfied. And I think beyond that, I don't think I've written it yet.
Well, that's good because it just always leaves a goal for you to achieve.
Yes.
And it just constantly move the goalpost. Like that's all it is, which is awesome.
For sure.
And I mean, you can't take away from, I've said this to artists plenty of times that as soon as you create something, someone takes ownership of it. It no longer belongs to you. So people fell in love with the early stuff. One of my favorite things to do is watch a band mature and continue to fall in love with them over and over again, which is amazing. People change their sound. They do different things. And yes, the thing is you can always go back to that old stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And, you don't have to, like, people are like, oh, one of my favorite bands just came out with a new album and it completely sucks. They changed everything up. Yeah, but you still have all the old stuff. So if that's what you love, you can still listen to it.
Yeah,
no one's forcing it on you. And listen, come back to it. You may not be at the same point in your life where they are when they put that album out. And at some point in your life, you may be at that same exact point and you'll be like, fuck, I was an asshole for thinking I didn't like that album.
Yeah, dude. For real. And I mean, we have some in-between stuff that I think the songwriting quality is what makes the song still playable. Because basically, like, there was after our first record, we used to have a second singer on the first record, and he just kind of did like call and response vocals with me. He might have had a song where he sang more of the time than not, but I don't know. It was just kind of an earlier dynamic of our band that didn't really carry through. And by this time we were putting out our second record, which was an EP, I was not taking care of myself well physically and thought it was just kind of chalked it up to like, oh, my voice is changing. I can't do everything I used to do. And so I started trying to kind of fiddle with different vocal style, which if you ever had the time to listen to like 30 seconds of all of our songs ever, you would know what I mean if you started from the oldest and got to the newest. There's just a point of time where, like, between the guys in the band at that time being having certain influences that I kind of was trying to naturally bleed into the band, but was in retrospect forcing. What I'm trying to say about like the other side of what you're saying about like when fans are like, ugh, I don't like this because it's new. While not liking something because it's new is like silly in the way that it sounds, sometimes the fans can be right in that, like, at least speaking about myself, like I was experimenting to a point of like I was not being myself, and a lot of the reason Bad Luck worked from the jump was I was just being myself. But I started getting a lot of voices in my ear telling me you should do this and you should do this more and you should do this, and I was just like, oh, I'm gonna try and be a good listener and I'll do those things. And anyways, what I'm trying to get at is I like that we have this release period of after our first record of like kind of different sounding Bad Luck. And again, we play some of those songs still. I mean, Love Song and Noise in Your Head are our most listened to songs, and they're off of the record and from the time period that I'm referencing, where I wasn't exactly singing my natural voice like the way I did in the beginning of Bad Luck and kind of do now. But yeah, through experimenting with all that, it made me all the more sure of coming back to like a more, I guess you could call it pop punk, if you will. That's kind of what we're derived from in the jump. And at that point in time that I'm talking about, tried to stray away from. And yeah, I even though I wasn't being my full self and like genuine self in ways, the experimentation and like the putting myself out there kind of aspect of what I'm reflecting on now made coming back to what I know is our sound and the way I more naturally write songs than not that much more like refined and figured out. And there's not a whole lot of like itches left to scratch type of thing as far as, man, I wonder what would happen if I sang low like that, or if I didn't yell so much on these songs like that. Like I'm thankful that we early in our career, we had like an experimenting period, and that the fans that either did fuck with it or didn't, I'm thankful for like all of that. I'm thankful for the fact that we strayed. I'm thankful that some people like stuck with us. I'm thankful that some people didn't, and I'm thankful that we're back to where like we very much should be now, and just are like know our identity more because of it. And I think that some of those fans who, touching on what you said that made me think about all this, like maybe heard some of that newer stuff in that time and I was like, I don't like this old stuff. When they heard this newest stuff that kind of has ways of sounding like a new version of the old stuff, maybe there's things about that in between stuff now they can appreciate.
Now, you brought up, you said the word like pop punky, and I don't like to genre label things, but it's something that has to be done in this world for people for some reason. Yeah, so what would you, if someone said, hey, what genre do you fall under? What would you consider Bad Luck?
I say pop punk because I just like whatever. Man, yeah. I'm almost 30, and the guys in my band are like right around the same age, and maybe the earlier parts of our band where we were more worried, just insecure young adult guys worried about being subgenred or categorized with things in bands that we don't want to be for whatever reason. Things like literally insecurities I can't explain to you now as a more developed person, but I just don't worry about that. And I feel like the sentiment of our music is that it's poppy, but we're definitely not just a rock band. I really am not a super big fan of like, especially bands my age or younger, when you meet them and you're like, oh, what kind of band are you? You're like, yeah, we're a rock band. And then you listen, and you're like, well, this is not just rock. Like there's more to this than that. And we kind of used to die on that hill. Like, oh, we're rock, man. Like we're just rock. Yeah, I think pop punk sums it up. Even if we're not like tie-dye, pizza, whatever. Like, and again, I don't even think that's a fucking like prominent thing. And for the record, I would not be ashamed to be grouped in with those things now, because we're simply not them, and also who cares? But yeah, pop punk in that I think we would go on tour with a band like Newfound Glory, who's totally pop punk, but in the same way, like we would be diverse enough to go on tour with a band like I mean, we'd only ever be so lucky, but just genre wise, like Jimmy Eat World, where it's not crazy to say that like, oh yeah, that pop punk band Bad Luck is opening for them. Yeah, pop punk is right.
So we talked about fans and picking albums before, and dying on hills of what they liked and what they didn't like. Now, the Us Weekly or Rolling Stone would categorize this question as, what's your favorite band? What I like to say is there a band in your life that never lets you down, like that you just constantly go to?
Never lets me down. Damn. Yo, on some sad shit? No. because a lot of the bands that were that for my whole life aren't what they were, but I'm okay with that. Like I think it's both. It's a combination of a ton of things. It's the industry. It's make what you got, make out of what you got, make what you will out of what you got type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. Never lets me down. Fuck. I don't know. I'm gonna have to try and think about that while we continue to talk and follow back up. But early in life, especially in their prime and from their early records as well, because I like, even though they were like kind of crappier sounding than their later records, I still liked them. I would say that's probably bands like Blink, Green Day, Weezer. Even when Weezer got all like Green Album and Hurley and stuff, like I like some of that later Weezer stuff, Red Album, stuff like that. So I'd say those bands are the earlier bands that I could name.
All right.
Damn, yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about that.
All right, you can think about that. Then while you're thinking about that, think about this: is there something that someone would be really surprised that a guy in a pop punk band listens to often?
Maybe. I think that, especially because everybody uses social media so much, I think that it wouldn't be jarring. But for kids who listen to our band and only listen to bands like our band, I listen to a lot of like pop, hip hop, like pop, trap. A lot of the, I wouldn't say a lot of the newer rap, because there's a lot of stuff I don't care for. But this direction that hip hop has taken in the last like 5 to 8 years, where it's just totally become straight up pop, like it just rap is pop.
Yeah,
I like a lot of that stuff. Like I don't know, super auto-tuned guys, singy guys. I just like that stuff. I really like melody. It's a lot of what I've realized drew me into wanting to have a career in music, but also just like be into listening and singing along with music as a whole. So I love catchy melodies and cool lyrics, and a riff will get me here or there, but a lot more times than not, I'm much more drawn in by melody. It doesn't have to necessarily be vocals, but just like a catchy progression or something. So yeah, I'd say probably like poppy rap is always a funny thing that, at least to people who don't know that we listen to that kind of thing, that I've noticed people are surprised to hear in our van. I think beyond that, maybe just people who don't know us that well, all four of the guys, myself included, in my band, we all like kind of, at least in earlier parts of our life, come from heavier music.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of heavy music being discussed in our band, in our van, and on tour a lot. And actually, I think that helps me answer your other question of every time I die has never really disappointed me. I like everything that they do.
Okay.
I know that's kind of off the beaten path we're talking about, but yeah, every time I die, probably, as far as like record to record and only getting better, I actually really feel like the newest songs I've heard from them is their best stuff, especially their singer. But anyway, sorry, going back to what people might be surprised to hear that we listen to. Charlie will listen to house music, and when I had known him for like 7 or 8 years before I knew that, so in that way, I guess that could be kind of surprising. And then yeah, pop rap. I think maybe some people would be surprised, some wouldn't.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Here's a devastation question. Meteor's coming to Earth, gonna wipe out all of life in existence, and you have to listen to one song.
Oh shit!
Before we're no more, what song would you listen to? And I preface this by people, you're not allowed to say your own songs.
Okay, thank you. I was gonna say, to be vainly honest, I probably would do a song of mine. Wow, holy shit! I don't know, just one song?
Yeah, one song, man. See, I'd be scrolling the entire time looking for that song and wouldn't get to it.
I would die scrolling. Oh fuck! I don't know. Shit. I will totally jokingly say Panama.
Okay.
Panama. Probably that song, just because I know that if the guys were doing this interview with me, they would appreciate that answer. I don't know. One song. I don't have one song to rule them all, Frodo. That is a tough one, bro. That is really hard.
All right. Hey, listen, I'll take Panama. We'll run with it. I know it's a tough question right away when it's asked. So it takes some thinking. People have never thought about that. That's why I try to see what your original answer will be, and then when you come back to me and email me, all right, dude, here it is. And
My creative answer, especially because it would extend the if the meteor's coming for the length of time of the song, is this song. It's only been released in the last couple of years by this band called The Voids. It's called Human Sadness. It's 12 and a half minutes long. I really do love the song, too. But especially if it meant that life could be 9.5 minutes longer than the average song length, then I'm going to go with Human Sadness. It would probably fit the fucking scene a little bit too much, too, conceptually. Yeah, either Panama or Human Sadness.
Okay.
Polar opposites.
Polar opposites. But yeah, you only have 5 minutes of that 12-minute song to hear. So depending on where your favorite part is,
That's true. I could die disappointed.
Yeah. All right. So now you're dead and someone's putting together a funeral playlist for you. Okay. Do you have one or two songs that would have to be played
at my funeral? Well, I think, and I truly say this cautiously because I don't know, but I think Dude from Saves the Day was recently canceled. So if that's the case, then that's too bad. But I would probably say, kind of play on words, and I really did like the song, At Your Funeral by Saves the Day would be fitting. I don't know. There would be... I love that Kanye song, Runaway. The chorus that has, let's have a toast to the douchebags, let's have a toast to the assholes. That would probably be fitting at my funeral. I think everybody would get that sentiment a little bit. Yeah, and then probably a Beatles song. I'm trying to cover all the close people in my life that would and then something from, probably a Billy Joel song. So everybody that I know and love from Long Island could just be like, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough. I'll give it to you. All right. So we're going to come in on our time here. I don't want to keep you very long. It took us a while to get this together, so I don't want to overextend our welcome with each other. We'll come in at the end here. What we like to do is we end our shows. It's called our Weekly Threes. It's 3 things you're listening to right now that you would like people to check out. It could be new. It could be old. It could be a fucking audiobook. I don't care. But 3 things you're listening to that you would like people to check out.
That's super cool. I'm frantically, and I don't have to tell you this because it's only audio, not video, but I'm frantically going to my most recently added to playlist.
Absolutely. That's what everyone does.
Nice. Well, I will start with a podcast that may or may not interest anybody because it's just sports, but I love it, and it's definitely entirely biased because of my love for New York and the Yankees and sports as a whole. But if you're interested in sports, the Michael K Show is available on Spotify. I'm a big fan. I listen to it 5 days a week. I got to do that. So that's one. It's also one of 3 answers that I don't have to worry about now. Second, I'm going to say, and I think I'm just late on this band, and I actually think I just like a couple of their songs, so this is a loose answer, but I did just hear them the other day, and I thought they were cool. This band, Rome, all capital letters. You ever hear them?
Yes.
I never heard of them before. I just found out about them. They're fucking cool. So I'm going to say that. And then for the third one, also, okay, we're going to disregard the Michael K Show because now I have excited more music that I'd rather excited.
I'll allow you 4, okay? You will be allowed 4 because it took us 3 or 4 times to get this going, so I'll allow you 4.
That's fair. Okay, so Rome, because I just found out about them. Radiator Hospital, because I love that band, and lately I've been listening to them a lot. I heard this song the other day. I don't know if I like this band, but I heard the song called Creature by this band called It Looks Sad. The song was just really cool. Sent it to all my friends. Was like, yo, this song is cool. So that song. And then the new Home Safe record. Because their bass player Tyler is a friend who we toured with in another band a long time ago, but also, and more importantly, because I think it's just really good. It's very much, if I were to delve into generalizing our band as just rock again, it's very much in the world of rock that I think I'd ever be talking about. Because it reminds me of like pop punk bands, but has this kind of mature sense and just really good like songwriting traits, kind of like the stuff I went on and on and on about earlier, structure and like noticeable structure of like, oh, they did that for a bridge in this song instead of maybe what you thought they would do. So yeah, I'd say the newest Home Safe record as far as front to back. I really enjoy it. It's called what is it called? Nervous Reaction. I really hope I'm not wrong about that. I got to look again now.
Well, you're right, and I'll tell you this much: I had that same album on my 3s a couple episodes ago. So
Dude, it's good, right?
It's really good. It's really good.
It's really good. Yeah, that's awesome. But yeah, I'm always down for if anybody shows me anything and it's good, like the song is good, I'll be into it. That's why I got a bunch of bands on these playlists that like I said before, I don't know if I like the bands. I just have heard these songs and
a good song's a good song. Doesn't matter who fucking does it.
Right? Really got me into the newest Tiger's Jaw. Actually, I was never really into their band, but that new record and like all the new songs I heard coming off of it, I'm like, yo, I love this band. I don't know. Didn't know if I just didn't allow myself to like earlier stuff, or the newer stuff is just really that undeniably good. But same kind of. I'm going 5. That was me sneaking in 5.
Yeah, you did. You snuck it in. It's totally fine. I'll allow it. I control the hammer. I will allow it.
Nice.
So my 3 for this week. My first one is a band called Kids in Glass Houses. They're from Cardiff, Wales. I'll throw they're alt rock because that's the new great term.
Yes.
To use. There's an album called Peace. Really good if you just like good rock and roll that could be considered pop punk or emo or whatever the fuck anybody wants to call stuff. Check it out.
That's a dope name. Peace. That's cool, man.
Next one is Safe Bet. Emo punk singer-songwriter guy, does a great job on his own. Really good. There's an album called Joy Find Me. Really good. Really enjoying that. And last,
I'm sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
Is he a little dude with really long hair?
Yes.
I seen him play before. He's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then last but not least is a band called We Are the Ocean, another British rock band. If you're into hot water music or Rise Against, that's where I would say check them out. I hate comparing bands to other bands, but to give you a little something for someone to check out. And the name of the album is called Ark. A-R-K.
Yeah, that's my brother's shit. Hot water music is like his, and Rise Against. He loves that kind of like rocking punk rock.
Yeah.
Like hard rock, punk rock. But also, man, I will check all 3 out. And yo, thank you I can be a bit of a rambler. Weed has not been kind to my brain over the years, but thank you for tolerating any and all of my rambling, and thank you so much for the patience of rescheduling because I really enjoyed talking to you.
No, it's been awesome. I want to give you the opportunity right now to tell everybody out there how to find everything that Bad Luck's doing. We will post it for you as well, but an opportunity for people who are still here listening, how to find all your stuff.
Tight. Well, the easiest kind of end all be all is badluckny.com. That's our official website and has links to everything. But pretty much on all socials beyond that, it's Bad Luck Dudes NY because I couldn't decide between NY or dudes, and I went with both, thinking that was easy. So yeah, badluckny.com or at Bad Luck Dudes NY on Twitter, Instagram. Check us out on Spotify and Apple Music and Bandcamp in I was going to say October, but it's really just like the last day of October and mostly November. So in November, we are going on tour with to support Free Throw and Dogleg on the Piecing It Together tour. That is a tour that starts in, as I scroll on my Instagram to see where it is, that starts for us in Cleveland and ends in Nashville. It starts for them in earlier October in Dallas, but we're only on the second half of the tour. And then in December, like I said earlier in the episode, announced freshly today, we are going on a headlining tour that starts in Pittsburgh and ends in Columbus. It's got a bunch of Florida shows, and we're finally coming back to Chicago, which we've really, really been looking forward to since we last played it. Again, I want to say like 2 years ago now. So, yeah, I think that's for the rest of 2021. That's what we have going on. We're going to just keep on working on content to aid the prolonging the release of this record and some music video stuff. And yeah, just please listen to Summer of Pain and buy a vinyl or 6 or 10 and buy our merch. Please buy our merch. It's the only way we make any money ever at all.
This is true, people. This is true. So everybody out there, you know what to do next. Go out, listen to Bad Luck, and have a great fucking time.
Here I am again, the log I've been railroad down. It just cost me a severed limb to go meet up with my man. But that's okay because he got messed up with his uncle by till at night his uncle just his mother's old best friend. Crazy to think someday we'd be uncles lifetime. Oh, Gwendolyn, I've been holding all this in. Just
Thanks again for tuning into the Hidden Tracks podcast. We hope you enjoyed this week's show. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at HiddenTracks99. Also, send all your submissions to myhiddentracks99@gmail.com. Tune in next week. You may find your new favorite band, and don't forget to go out and have a great fucking time.